ago. Okay, we continue touring Ouidah, and we now live in the slave fort, the Portuguese fort, and we are on the slave road, the 4-kilometer road from the fort to the seaside. And we'll be making some stops on the way, driving past the slave market, stopping at the level of the door of the Tree of Oblivion, also the Tree of Forgetfulness, where the slave merchants, around which the slave merchant will be making our ancestors go around 9 times when they were men, and 7 times when they were ladies. And after that, we get to one other point that is called Zhu Bajie. Zhu, that is light, Mai, forbidden. So where light was not allowed, where they were kept into the darkness, because for fear that they would revolt if they happened to see where they were being taken. So from there, a lot of them lost their lives. They were thrown into a mass grave that is in the middle of the village that we'll be driving through. And finally, they would be giving them one ultimate courage by taking them all around the tree for 3 times, telling them that, okay, you wouldn't die, that you would be returning. And that tree, we call it the Tree of Return. And definitely today, there is a great return that is taking place. When we are here today, it is part of it is a great return. That you know that you belong to a continent, you belong to a motherland that is Africa. That is why we're here. So from the level of the Tree of Return, we make it completely to the seaside, when in those days we are driving past to the left here the house of Francisco Felicio de Souza. He was one of the greatest slave merchants of Brazilian origin that had ever stayed on the West African coast. And the slave market in Ouidah is just opposite his house. We're going to drive past this market, and as I always say, people benefited a lot from this very shameful trade. So the De Souzas have happened actually to attain some kind of notoriety in the whole of Ouidah, and even they became even chief over this very part of Ouidah.
But he was from Brazil?
He was from Brazil, Portuguese of a Brazilian origin. So the slave market was here to the left. This is the yard over here that we call the Chacha Square to the left. Chacha Square. So it was here that our ancestors were, battered against commodities brought from Europe, and it was from here that they were taken to the fort where we're coming from. And along this very road, the slave road, we'll be seeing a lot of statues, most of them relating to the Dahomey kingdom. Some are rain symbols, some are depiction of the philosophy of some of the kings. Indeed, this is to also to get to some kind of historical, psychological recognition that sometime in history, some of the African rulers, some of the African chiefs and kings condoned this very trade in time. And something that is very meaningful, you know, the current king of Abome, King Agole Agbo, he made it to the Caribbean. He went to Martinique and publicly he rendered apology to brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, mostly in Martinique, for what at all his ancestors might have contributed to, that is actually looting Africa of what could be those that could be, you know, strong enough to work to build it to become a great and a very important continent. So he went to do that, and unfortunately he's grown very old, this very king today, and kings are installed for life. So otherwise it could have been possible for us actually to pay a courtesy to him, where he actually, you know, shares a lot of his culture, mostly with brothers and sisters like you coming from the diaspora to visit. Okay, well, so we are still on the slave road, and very soon we'll be stopping at the level of the Tree of Oblivion, the Tree of Forgetfulness, which unfortunately has died out. But we have a memorial standing at this place that is also full of significance.
You see the little tree over there? Yeah, the little tree, yeah. Where the wood? Yeah, you stop it, please.
Oh, this is
Okay, to your left. Stop. To your left, this is where the Tree of Oblivion used to stand.
Let me get in.
It was here that they made men go round 9 times and women 7 times. Women and kids 7 times. And in place we have a memorial. We have a mother and 2 kids. The mother is carrying 2 kids. Could you see that? The mother is carrying 2 babies.
Yeah.
And the mother is making her back to the sea. And then she has a horn. She's echoing from across the sea to motherland Africa. It is to say that though the treatment was very bad, these captives never forgot about their heritage. And we in those far lands have contributed, you know, to world civilization, to world heritage. When, for example, you hear of the gospel, when you hear of the blues, when you hear of the jazz music, that is what we have contributed to the world through this slave trade. And you could see the babies. One is playing a drum, and the other one is holding one musical instrument that is common with initiates of Shango, God, the god of thunder, and Shango we call here Hebieso, God, the thunder god. It is to say that you could not treat anyone to the extent that he or she forgets about himself. It can never work. That's it. And today, still with you over here, we know that this treatment never worked. Otherwise, you wouldn't have actually be thinking of coming to contribute to Africa, you wouldn't actually be making it for that very far back home to Africa. Okay, we proceed. Yeah, so that I don't fall. I'll fall on the steering wheel.
Something good that you do happen as well.
Yeah.
Isn't this one of the deities?
Okay, someone put me a question about the triplets. The three gentlemen here at the museum said, and then I was telling you about the twins and the triplets in our communities. So to your left, that is the celebration yard for the twins in the whole of Ouidah. And twins are believed to be very particular persons. And when you give birth to twins, you would be making an altar in the house for their spirits. And then you'll be making offerings to the spirit of these very twins, because we believe their spirit could be strong enough to protect us. Likewise, when it happens that, okay, one of the twins dies, we never even say that, okay, he or she dies. We say he has traveled, or he's gone to fetch, to go and fetch firewood. Okay, so you would be making a representation, not as huge as the human being, but a doll. That this very doll, you'll be keeping it in the house, and everything that you do to the one living, the same you'll be doing to that very doll, so that the one that has departed be not jealous to invite his other brother and sister to join him over there. So we soon get into Zomai, where light was not allowed, where the captives were kept in the darkness, so that they could not see where they were being taken to. And today there is a memorial, a cultural center that is being built, and we're calling it the Memorial of Zhu Bajie. Zhu Bajie is the opposite of Zomai. Zhu Bajie, that is perpetual light, perpetual flame, compared to Zomai, the darkness. And you have on the walls so many of the depiction of the sceneries that we saw at the museum, the slave market, the way they were packed on the slave ships and the shackles. And there is a lot that they never tell us about regarding Africans. Africans contributed a lot to some inventions that are useful to the whole humanity today. They never told us. For example, when you have the guitars, when you have the traffic lights, when you have stamps, and so many Africans contributed to these inventions, but they will never tell us. They will never tell us because they never want us to gain confidence in ourselves. They never want us to consider ourselves as being their likes. So we only consume, we never produce. Yeah. And then you could also see on the wall we have Wakaima, that is in Haiti, when the revolt of the slaves took place, with the chains broken and the light is being turned to Zhu Bajie, the place of darkness, so that we all happen to see for ourselves how it was hard, how it was cruel, treating our lights as it was done for more than 400 years in the history of African people. So it was here that those that died would be taken or would be thrown to a mass grave inside this very village. And those that survived were the ones that they took around the Tree of Return. 3 times, all of them, children, women, and men. And from here, then, from the Tree of Return, the journey continues to the door of no return, when they were put on lesser vessels, paddled sure still by the natives, fishermen most of the time, to the bigger boats, taking them to the destinations unknown to them. Thank you. Okay.